Hello, this video is for my 9th grade students. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I really do. So here we go. Let's talk about what we're doing this week. I'm just going to briefly describe what's on the agenda. So just in case you can't make it into our Zoom meetings because of your weird schedule, or I don't know, whatever gets in the way. How life gets in the way. You know how it is. If you're not able to make it to our Zoom meetings, watch this video and I'll cover everything that you missed. So, if you go to our Canvas page, all right, and if you go to the side navigation, you click Modules, all right, and you scroll down. Okay, we're still in the middle of Module 7, and we're starting this week with Lesson 2, which is focusing on the importance of the oral tradition, of oral narratives, of first telling stories with spoken words, not with written words. And so, you know, that's going to lead us into our essential question of the lesson. What is an oral narrative? Okay, if you go to the next page, this is a very, very brief lecture about creating claims, because as we, learn about oral tradition and oral narratives, we are also going to be learning about how to make claims and how to prepare something that can be argued either for or against. And so go ahead and slide through each of these slides. Okay, and there are some slides here that are a little confusing to you. So if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. You know how to send me a question. But what you'll do is you'll flip through the slides, and it'll explain what you need to do to make sure that you have a claim that is clear and arguable. Okay, it describes what a good claim is. A good claim can be debated or challenged. A good claim can be supported with research, testimony, and reasoning. Otherwise, evidence. It can be supported with evidence. All right, usually we make claims that are responses to prompts. Usually these prompts or these questions are given to you by teachers. It's also really important that you avoid statements like "I think" or "I believe," because it'll worsen your claim. It'll make it seem weaker. And you don't want that. You don't want any weak claims, okay? You want to sound strong. You want to sound confident in yourselves, okay? It gives you a few examples of some claims that have been made, so you guys can read that on your own time. It gives you a little equation here. Okay, if you have a topic and a position, you have a claim. And it also has here a little chart that you can use for making claims as well. And so in class, we'll do this together. We'll have you guys practice individually. In the very last slide of the slides presentation, there is a closure activity. So this isn't mandatory. This isn't getting a grade, but I do want you guys to respond to one of these questions, just so I know where the gaps are, so I know what you understand or what you might still be struggling with. So a text box will open at the bottom of the page. You'll respond to one of these 3 questions. Also, there's a flyer here that talks about like the 3 ways that you can test your claim to make sure that it's a strong one. Your claim should be specific. They should be specific. My speech impediment came out there a little bit. So you want to stay away from general topics, like for example, school uniforms isn't a strong topic to base a claim off of, but if you were to select the topic that school uniforms in public schools exist in the United States, that can be a strong topic. Okay, you want to make sure that your position is arguable, okay? Your claim should be arguable. In other words, a reader should be able to agree or disagree with you, which I know it can be a scary thing, having people disagree with us. But in an academic setting, that's how we learn the most, okay? By arguing with people, respectfully. And then, of course, you need your claim to be supported by evidence. So can your claim be supported with facts or opinions or a combination of the two? Okay? A claim uses facts to support an opinion. That's what's really important. And so you'll respond to the last slide of the presentation in the box below, and then you'll move to the next page. Now, this is a long article. This is one of the longer articles I have ever given you, but I still expect you guys to annotate it just like how we've been practicing. And so this article is actually a book review. Okay, so when you tag it, I would describe it as a book review or just an article as a genre. And it's titled, "Can Homer's Iliad Speak Across the Centuries?" It's a book review of a very, very old story. All right, usually when we read book reviews in the newspaper, it's about the newest bestseller, but this is actually a very old story they're writing a review on. And so the reason why I want you guys to read this is because the thing that we're focusing on in our class, the thing that we're reading in our class or that we're listening to, it's actually a 2-part series. And unfortunately, I just don't have the time or the energy or the bandwidth to do a decent job of teaching you guys the Iliad. Unfortunately, we have to skip over that. So this book review will kind of fill in the gaps and kind of tell you about the story that precedes the one that we're going to listen to. And it's really, really interesting. And if you guys have any time, I encourage you guys to try reading it on your own. Of course, with older text, it's harder to understand, but I love this kind of stuff. And I think you guys would too. All right, it's about war, it's about fighting. And I think you guys would like it if we had time to read it. But anyways, where are we at? Here we are. So what you'll do is you'll read the article, you'll annotate it, you'll leave comments. At the bottom, there are a few questions it asks you. So it asks you to answer the purpose question, which of course is at the top of the page. Your purpose for reading is, what does the author think of the Iliad? Okay. You'll tell me what the author's purpose is. Okay, what is the author's... Oops. My computer's wigging out here. What was the author's purpose? Okay, why did they go to the trouble of writing you a book review? What are they trying to get you to do? Who is the author's audience? Who do you think is reading this article other than you? And then you'll do a CER paragraph about the article here at the bottom. Okay, and so you'll make a claim about the statement. You'll tell me, the author, Sam Jorgensen, explains in his book review, why you should or shouldn't read the Iliad. And then you'll find me evidence from the reading to support your claim. And then you'll back it up with reasoning. And then you'll find more evidence and more reasoning. And then you'll wrap it up in a concluding sentence. And then you'll have a paragraph. And you'll be happy. I'll be happy for sure. Anyways. And so that just leaves us for our last activity this week. Okay, I have you guys listening to a podcast, which actually makes the most sense because traditionally, this story was told through word of mouth. It was taught through oral tradition. It's an oral narrative. Oral means mouth. It comes in that. So, in an effort to kind of provide this story to you as it was first provided to its first listeners, I found a wonderful podcast that tells the story in a narrative format. Okay, we have a narrator, and she's going to tell us about Odysseus and his family and the hardships that they encountered and the struggles that he faced and the times when he was tested and he had to rise up and be a leader and be a king. And it's a 4-part series, so we're going to listen to the first part this week. It's about 45 minutes long. It is a bit lengthy, so we'll listen to half of it for one period, and then we'll finish it in the second Zoom meeting. But if you find it that you can't make it to our Zoom, you can just listen to it by yourself on Spotify. Now, I understand that if you're using a school Chromebook, Spotify might not work for you. So, anticipating that being an issue, I already went ahead, and if you go to the bottom of the page, you'll see that I have a link to my own recording of the podcast itself. And so you can listen to the podcast here as well if Spotify won't let you use this embedded embedded player. I don't know what you'd call it. Embedded player? This embedded podcast player. Anyways, if this doesn't work for you, just click the link at the bottom of the page. And so there is an activity assigned to this. You don't have to turn in the transcript or anything. I do have the transcript if you want to read as you listen along. But it's okay if you just listen to it. But when you're done listening to the podcast, I want you to answer this prompt right here. And a text box will open for you at the bottom of the page. What are the elements that the speaker included that make this an effective story? How is this podcast similar to how you think Homer would share the story of Odysseus with a small crowd around a campfire? And please read my description up here, because in here I define oral narrative. I talk about oral narrative. I talk about Homer. Who is Homer? Did he actually write the Iliad? Did he actually write the Odyssey? Some historians agree. Some historians disagree. The thing is, we can't really know. We can't really tell. We can only guess. All right? The real evidence has been lost to history. But anyways, when you're done, you'll turn in that and we'll call it a week. That's all I have for you guys this week. I look forward to learning with you in our Zoom calls. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know how to reach me. Go through the proper channels, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. All right? Thanks for watching. Have a good one.